Mr. Robert Thorne.
Hey everyone, I'm Robert Thorne and here to show you my E46 FD car. This is a 2004 325i chassis, so it's actually a 4-door sedan, but of course prepped for FD, so there's not much stock car other than a chassis left here. Under the hood, of course, there's an LS under here. It's a fairly stock build, lightly kind of a lightly forged build, stock heads, but of course it's got this Magnuson blower on it, this 2650 LSA style blower, and with that and E98 fuel, this thing makes about 900 now. So Wegner built this engine for me this year. In PRO-SPEC last year it was a stock motor, literally a crate motor dropped off from Summit along with the T56 Magnum. This year we've upgraded to the 4-speed dog box, so it's got a GSR in it and a Clutch Masters clutch, and so far this has been unchanged from the beginning of the season, or untouched. Been super reliable at these power levels. Probably the only car on the grid you'll see with a brake booster still. I just like the feel of it, and it just makes the brake system easy because it really is stock. Stock brakes all the way around on this car, even stock pads, so that's a little different than some of these other builds. So of course they fit under these beautiful Koenig hypergrams. These are 18 by 9s in the front, and I believe we're 18 by 10.5 in the rear. So huge stagger on this car, a little different than my road race toys. On the front, but two 9540s on the back. So the two 9540s are super tall, super wide and sticky, and we run like drag race pressures. So the goal is to try to get the front wheels off the ground when you get on the throttle. It gives it the fast and furious, you're spinning the tires but doing a wheelie thing that used to be impossible, but these cars can pretty much do it in real life. Interior is super basic. So I thought this car would just be used to get my FD license. And then we got the FD license right away. And then we re-prepped the car for PRO-SPEC. And it survived a whole season of PRO-SPEC. And then we re-prepped the car for Pro. So we haven't hurt the chassis yet. Of course, GSR gearbox. This is an amazing handbrake that I have here. Fresh off Amazon. I think this is $45. I think it's supposed to be a sim handbrake, but works just fine in real life. Should probably upgrade that at some point. Of course, MOMO came in this year and is redoing all the safety equipment on this car. So fresh wheel, big beefy grips on this thing, and harnesses, suit, all the safety gear. Seats will be in next weekend. Some fresh MOMO Daytonas. Hardwire PDM and electronics, so I got all kinds of things I can turn on. Flash all the lights, thing basically runs itself, so almost all of these are lights and windshield wipers.
Simple setup in here.
Yeah, oh, and there's no dash.
Yeah.
So if I want to see some things, I just have my display. This is just an AIM Solo DL that gives me basic stuff. I mean, if I want to look at pressures and temps really quick, I can scan that mid-drift. When drifting, you're never looking forward. And there's always something going on. There's no straightaways, right? It's like in road racing, we just have a straightaway and we can check gauges. In FD, the run starts and 30 seconds later it's over. So I'm always out this window or out that window, and the little display is right here. So as I'm going this way, I can glance and see if anything is wrong. Other than that, you just gotta wait to the end of the run anyway, so there's no point in putting anything on the display. Yeah, so it looks like a radiator, and it is a full-size radiator, but this is actually the intercooler. So that's connected to a pump back here that just feeds the intercooler on the supercharger. This is actually a front radiated car. This runs basically a stock drop-in radiator, and with good airflow through the front, stays plenty cold. This is even a factory fan that's in here. So super unconventional for FD, but this car stays so nice and cool. I don't have to worry about doing back-to-back runs. Yeah, first year at Pro. Good. It is a little intimidating, some of these battles with these huge names. I mean, so far we've pulled Forrest Wang, then Vaughn Gitten Jr., and then James Deane, and then tomorrow we've got Matt Fields. So, but it's also been just the coolest opportunity to be out and battling with these guys. The car has plenty of potential. We've seen it in runs and practice. I need to dial it in for these top 32 battles and be a little more aggressive. But there's been a lot to learn with the larger rear tires. The cars drive very different than any other drift car. Having such a huge stagger makes it challenging and very susceptible to temperature changes on the surface. So if the ambient temperature drops 10 degrees, you're gonna have a totally different handling car. The guys that have been here for 12 years know this and have all their numbers dialed in, and we've got a little catching up to do. Among the changes for this year, I started doing sim racing, sim drifting mostly. Our coach, GC Drifts, Guillermo, check him out on Instagram, but he hosts us every night of the week on his Patreon and on Discord, has us servers set up and has all these tracks loaded. He has this car scanned, so there's 3D scans of this car, of the hypergram Koenigs on there, and everything is dialed in by him. He can drift in real life, he can drift in sim. He's here this weekend, he's our coach, both in virtual and in real life. And he's also our spotter. Both me and Josh use him as a spotter.
How accurate is your sim version to this?
It's very accurate.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
yeah. So if a track surface is consistent and even across, I can't tell any difference from this car to the sim car.
Come on, really?
It's the same.
Wow.
So generally, if you look at some of my first runs out of the box, they line up almost spot on. Because most of these tracks now I've done 1,000 laps at in this car on these tires. So they run the same times. G's timed them and makes adjustments to the geometry and the tires. I mean, the tire model's his as well, so he preps that to match the car. Yeah, he's the man. And supported by Sim Magic, they of course help out with things. There's a big team of us that play every night. Yeah, so we're gonna get you on there soon and have a little Koenig subreddit going there too. So
Make a fool out of ourselves, I don't know.
no, we'll get it. We'll get you dialed in. Cool. So to learn more, and please give me a follow, check out Robert_Thorn8. I'm pretty much on all platforms now, including Discord under that. And also have a YouTube channel where I do updates from every week of racing that we do, whether it's road racing or drifting or just hanging out with the ASM guys or the Koenig crew. You can follow us and come join in the fun.